Welcome everyone back to FPL Chat Down Under. I'm your host, The Pom, and I'm joined by the great Alex, my wonderful co-host. How are you doing after this debacle of a football weekend?
Mate, feeling miserable on all ends, FPL-wise, Manchester United-wise. It's just not a good week. So time to just dust it away, move it on, and pray that this week's at least a little bit better.
It's a tough week. In our league, I lost by 2 points as well in a high-scoring affair. Absolutely heartbroken. I know you, though, had a miracle, didn't you? The miracle of fantasy leagues.
Yeah, let's just say, look, let's put this out there, okay? We're FPL hosts, we should not be doing this, but I could not help myself. I needed to make changes. Took a 28-point hit last week, and I somehow still won in our league.
Yeah. And if the guy had watched our show, it's set and forget is the rule on Salah as captain, and he broke that rule.
He definitely did,
and paid the price.
Paid it big time, unfortunately, but oh well. Another man's loss is another man's gain, so I'll take it.
It is. Well, I mean, we've got a lot of games to get through this week, so we'll start off with our handy top 3 selections. And the one I've pulled out for you is a blast from the past. It feels like we spent the first 3 weeks talking about this guy, and then he just kind of fell off the face of the earth, didn't he, in fantasy talk? But big Ivan Toney, 2 points last week, 3.9. Still massive ownership, though, really. 19%, 6.6 million. And he's a guy that I feel, just watching him over the last couple of weeks, he's there or thereabouts. And I feel like just looking at his games coming up as well, he's a guy that he needs to start scoring and needs to start scoring quick. So this is a kind of selection of backing the boy in because they are creating a lot of opportunities. I think it's only a matter of time before he starts making good of his promise.
I just love this guy. He just plays with so much swagger and just so much. I just love the guy. He's going to return soon enough. Brentford's fixtures up until about game week 16 or game week 17 are just unbelievable. He's surely, I mean, look, we're probably not going to be expecting a goal every single game, but I'd almost be expecting some sort of a return every single game in that little period because he's good enough to do it. They actually play quite attacking football, Brentford. They're not a very defensive. They do sit back, but they know how to attack and kill you on the counter as well with him and Mbeumo. So, no, I'm expecting some returns from Toney. I've got him in, especially for these next 6 to 7 weeks, and I'm hoping it pays off. Which I'm sure the 19% that have him will definitely be hoping for as well.
Well, I'm hoping so. I've just got a good feeling about it, especially as well with the next couple of weeks' fixtures. He's got Norwich and Newcastle after this Burnley game he's got coming up. So, I mean, they're not tough defensive sides. So he's my guy that I'm looking at, especially this weekend. I've got a feeling that this weekend he's going to do something special.
Well, Burnley are a really interesting team. They could be really, really good or they could be really, really poor. I'm not sure which one we'll get. But Ivan Toney is a big dude. He plays a real target man type of football. And if he gets in the right positions like he normally does, surely a return's coming this week. So I like it.
Fingers crossed. Well, let's have a look at your first one. You've gone, this guy I actually hate because I've had him for 3 weeks and I took him out this week for Son and he does what he did last week. So tell me about Mason Mount.
Sorry to do this to you, Pom. I know you had him and I know you kicked him out, but no, it's too hard to not go past him. He just looked unbelievable. Now, Norwich did not provide much of anything on the weekend, but if you just watch that game, Mount's the guy. He pulled the strings. Every time that Chelsea were in an attacking position, it was because of Mount. Whether he was whipping in crosses, whether he was firing in shots from outside the box, he was just in everything. And, while he's playing, he's the creative threat. He's the main creative threat, I should say. It's just a shame that under Tuchel with Chelsea as well, they've got a lot of attacking depth, and it feels like a real City situation where we don't know if he's going to play week in and week out. Like it's as good as he is, he should be playing every week. But that risk there, we'll call it Tuchel roulette, not Pep roulette this time. It makes it tough to pick him sometimes. So yeah, at 7.5 with as good as he is with a bit of risk there, there is the risk. But when he does play, he's amazing. And I'm expecting him to play this week against Newcastle. And I'm expecting, look, maybe not 24 points like last week, but I'm expecting something. So if you do have Mason Mount, you just keep riding it until the rotation starts coming in full effect. So yeah, no, I do like Mason Mount. Yeah.
With this advice.
Had we known, I mean, look, as I said at the start, Norwich did not provide much anything. They were just training cones out there, and Chelsea were just able to do whatever they pleased. I'm at least expecting Newcastle to maybe provide a little bit of something to withstand him. So I'm not expecting 24 points, but the guy's good enough, even without Lukaku and all those guys in there, that points should still be coming.
I was watching that game, Norwich, and I reckon I had tears by half-time. Because it was a very last minute decision to bring Son in, and a good mate of mine, Big Rich, back home in the UK, is raves about this guy as a Chelsea fan. Was like, Tuchel loves him. He's the boy. He's going places, and I stuck on him for 3 weeks, and he did nothing. Deleted him out of my life, and to see him do that, he is unplayable. Like, for me, one of the best players in the world on his day. Potential. That's how good he is. He could be one of the best midfielders in the world because he does things that English players shouldn't do. So, I mean, you got a massive crash course at Norwich on that, didn't you, really, of what he can do.
He can just beat you in so many different ways, whether it's a pass, whether it's a shot, whether it's just even, not even having to assist the goal, but playing in a ball that allows the next pass to come. He's just, he pulls the strings, and, he's an impeccable talent. So I am expecting very similar sort of play this week, that's for sure.
No, he's a supreme talent. And I like that pick as well. 7.5 as well. Like when you can get 24 points, like obviously he's not going to do that every week, but that's the kind of potential Mason Mount has got to put in one of them games, maybe one every 15 games, one every 16 games. And for 7.5, like that's ludicrous value.
Yeah. Unbelievable. You don't see 24 points very often from a 7.5. And, a guy like Mason Mount, he should probably be a bit more expensive.
It's worth adding minus Lukaku as well. Like it's scary to think how many points that would have been if Lukaku was available.
Could have easily been in the 30s, potentially heading on the 40s with a Lukaku there who could finish off even more chances. So,
Quality player. Broke my heart, but great player. Another guy that I think has got a ceiling and who is really impressing at the moment is Big Smith Rowe at Arsenal. Now, he's really impressed me all year, really. He's been the standout for me for Arsenal. 13 points again last week. It's another double-figure score for him. Averaging 4.4, which is pretty impressive at the 5 million mark that he is. Only 9.2% own him, which I thought was a surprise because this is, as we know, Arsenal's fixture run still is pretty primo in the next couple of weeks. He has got Liverpool and United, but outside of that, for like the next 8 weeks up until Man City, they have got real good fixtures, real creative opportunities for him. And everything goes through Smith Rowe. Already, Arteta has given him the pull the strings license. And I froth this kid. He's got everything.
Well, for me, Smith Rowe is Arsenal's Mason Mount. That's probably the most fair comparison. Obviously, probably not as good as Mason Mount yet, but it's similar sort of stuff. Gets the ball at his feet all the time. He's the one that wants to take on players. He's the one that wants to make that risky but decent pass for an option up forward. He's he gets in great positions where he can finish off and play cutbacks and so on and so forth. The list goes on. He's a supreme young talent, and it's hard to not go past him. And as you said, the fixtures, besides a couple fixtures here and there, they're still pretty decent. And the way that he's playing at the moment and the form that he's in, he's not getting dropped anytime soon. So at 5.5, with what's happening at Arsenal, they've started to pick it up a little bit, and he's at the forefront of it. So yeah, no, it's a very handy pick, and we love a cheapie here. 5.5, unreal value.
Yeah, I'm still shocked as well that less than 10% own him, because the way he's played, particularly the last 3 or 4 weeks, like he is your budget option and pretty much guaranteed starter as well.
Yeah, I think at the start of the season it was a bit of a worry because they obviously had Aubameyang, they had Lacazette, they've obviously got Saka and all that, and there was a bit of a worry that he might not start. I think he's put those to bed now. You have to start him every week now.
Well, I see you've gone his crosstown rival next, the man that replaced Mason Mount for me. Tell me about Big Son.
Do you want to know why I've made this pick? It's not necessarily just because I like Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham have played great football at all this season, and I think a lot of people could agree with that. But I've picked him this week because of who they're playing. And they are playing Manchester United. And in their last 20 games, Manchester United have held 1 clean sheet, which is pretty terrible. They leak a lot of goals, and they leak a lot of easy goals too. And it's mainly wingers who dominate. It's mainly the wingers who get up and down the pitch and are the ones that kill United. So a guy like Son, who we know does it time and time again, he was obviously kept quiet last week. Good players don't stay down too long. And the way Manchester United are playing at the moment, this guy could honestly score a goal, have an assist, and really cause some serious damage to United. So it pains me to say it, especially because they're playing United this week. And, we're United fans, we want us to win. But, this guy's too talented, and the defensive woes at the moment just don't seem to be getting any better. And this guy could really make us pay just as much as, maybe not the exact same sense of Salah, but in pretty decent fashion. So kills me, but yeah, Son could be a very, very good pick. He could even be a captain pick this week.
Mate, I think you've nailed it. He's a player that, just knowing at United, that I'd worry about. I'd worry about that he's going to find a lot of creativity. Last 2 times he's played as well. Goal last time, and then 2 goals the time before when they beat us 6-1. Bring back dark memories. He seems to give us trouble as well, particularly in the last couple of outings. And he was ominously quiet last week, wasn't he? I watched the West Ham game. He was very quiet, very unlike Son's self. So he doesn't have many games bad in a row, does he?
No, he doesn't. He's a very, very good footballer, and you'd expect a bit of a bounce back this week. And that's what I'm saying. As a United fan, that's what scares me, is this guy could easily have a performance like what he did last year at Old Trafford this week.
You know what? It pains me to say it, but yeah, I think that's a good pick for all the reasons above. I think that's a great pick.
Look, if you want to take a risk, he could be. It's a risk putting him captain. Obviously, you've got Salah there. Well, I assume you'd have Salah, because if he's not in 100% of teams, I don't know what's going on. But if you want to take a risk on another person as captain, I'd argue this guy would be the next best pick.
I'm with you. Talking about Salah, I'm still shocked that still 69.3% have him. Like, how that isn't 89.3. I'd accept 10% of people not having him, but that's a high margin. But no, I agree. I think Son, because obviously Salah can't keep doing it. Well, we assume he can't. He may be able to keep doing it, but I agree with you. There's going to be a time that Salah is either rested or he just has a quiet patch like he's entitled to. So I like this. I think Son is interesting, though. I think Son, people are saying he's not had a good year or he's been quiet, but his average of 6.6 says otherwise. Like, that's fairly steady throughout the year.
I think he's top 5 in midfield scores for fantasy points this season. So for all those naysayers that think he's having a pretty average year, well, if this is average, what's going to happen when he's actually starting to play good? So,
yeah, and he's got the team that plays teams into form this week. So
that's
I
for sure.
expect double figures from Mr. Son.
All
And
right.
I stuck in London. I've been really cockney this week. I've gone Chelsea again, and I've gone this guy. This guy impresses me every time I see him, and it's the first time I've picked him in my fantasy. That's a spoiler for a bit later in the show. But Kovacic at 5.3 million. I still can't believe he's that cheap. 11 points last week, 5.1 average, 10% ownership, so great point of difference. And he's a walk-up start as well for Chelsea. Like this guy just gets game time and he's in everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I think he is the biggest bargain in FPL.
No, I think that's a pretty fair call. I mean, look, I spoke about him a few weeks ago when we were doing like all of our teams, and I mentioned about Kovacic. He doesn't play 90 minutes every week, but he starts more times than not. And in the minutes he does play, he is really, really valuable. He plays in that centre mid spot where he's obviously got Jorginho there next to him. So with Jorginho there, it allows Kovacic to move forward and push up forward that can play in the likes of a Mount, that could play in the likes of, Lukaku and, Hudson-Odoi and, Chilwell, whoever else you want. They've got so many different options. You find Kovacic is the one that's actually playing them through more times than not. And then whatever else happens after that does. And you saw it last week, the 2 assists, 5.3, 11 points, the great average. He's in everything. I'm with you there. I can't believe he's only 5.3 and as cheap as he is. He's a guy that, especially with Chelsea's good run of fixtures, could still score a lot of points. So,
Yeah.
no,
When I picked
I
him
do
up
like
today,
it.
I couldn't believe it. 5.3. I thought there was a mistake with the fantasy app.
I tell you what, there's been a few times I've had the trigger on his name and you're just going submit to transferring him in, and just I don't know, for whatever reason I can't do it myself, and then he comes out and brings what he does and winds up getting an assist or a goal or something, and it breaks my heart like it did for you, Mason Mount. So yeah.
Well, if you haven't got him, just wait for 2 weeks when he gives me 2 and a 3 and I drop him and he has a 30 in 3 weeks' time. So stay tuned for that. Who's your final pick?
My final pick is a guy that looks, well, he was supposed to be injured, but Bielsa has come out and said that he's playing, which is amazing for all of us owners. And it's amazing for us owners for one reason. Leeds have Norwich this week. And I'm expecting a guy like Rafinha to go crazy. I'm expecting some pretty decent points from Rafinha this week. This guy he's unbelievable. And you know what? He must be, I spoke about it with Mbeumo last week. I feel like this guy is the best, unluckiest guy in the world. He just dominates games for Leeds with very little return. It's a shame that he's not playing with, like a Chelsea with the likes of Lukaku's and Mounts with him and all that, because if he did there, he'd have 2 assists and a goal every single game. He's just unbelievable. He's so crafty. He's a great dribbler. He's not scared to take players on. He's not scared to fire shots outside the box. Everything runs through Rafinha. And now that we know that he's fit and will be playing this week against Norwich, I'm expecting some big returns this week from Rafinha. So he's a very nice pick to have. I've considered, maybe not the captain, but I might chuck a vice captain on him just in case and see what happens. But yeah, Rafinha is a great footballer. And against Norwich, who have leaked goals left, right, and centre, it could be some points here.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think every time I watch Leeds play, this guy stands out. He really stands out. And then you go and check his fantasy points, and it doesn't seem to match up. But then you look at his fantasy points throughout the year, and a 4 average, he's about par for 6.7. I'd say that's probably around his money. So even though he hasn't been spectacular, he's still provided. And he seems to be like one of them players that is just waiting for that breakout game, isn't it? It's a bit like Adama Traore at Wolves. You're just waiting for the floodgate to open.
There's going to come a game where he kicks a hat trick and has an assist to go along with it too, like what Mason Mount did. It's coming. The way that he plays, it's definitely coming. It's just when it's going to come. Against Norwich, as I said before, leaked goals have leaked them all season long. They just leaked 7 to Chelsea. I mean, we can't put Leeds and Chelsea in the same class, but we can definitely put a guy like Rafinha in that class. That's how good he is. So if there's anyone from Leeds that can do it, that can break them down consistently, it'll be this guy.
He's definitely a top player. Top player. He plays above his level. I'd say like he should be in a different. He should be. You'd see him at a top 4 club. It wouldn't surprise you if a top 4 club came in for him. But I've got a feeling that he's due a Riyad Mahrez type year. I just feel like he's going to be one of them players like Mahrez that is good on the eye, that you're like, oh, I like him. But then suddenly his performance is back, how good he looks on the eye. And it's only a matter of time because he cuts inside so well as well. And I think the Norwich game, it's written in the stars, isn't it, that if he's going to go off, it's this week.
Yeah. So if you're a RAF owner, stick fat. This guy can do it. I've stuck fat with him all season long. So far, I've debated trading him out, but I can't do it. I just know how good the guy is, and as you said, the returns are coming. I feel it.
Don't ever trade someone if you've got a gut. Don't. That is my best advice I can give. I've had a gut about Mason all year, and the 1 week he does it. So yeah, I like that plan. Well, games I'm looking forward to this week is Chelsea Newcastle. I've gone with, which might surprise some, but I've just got a feeling that you look here at the top scorers, all Chelsea, and I think Newcastle are in a mess. I think they've got a bit of a hangover from the multi-billion-dollar transfer. Interim managers, never good, kind of up in the air. The players look a bit disjointed. I think this game here could be cash in on your Chelsea players because Chelsea's fixture run over the next couple of weeks as well ain't the hardest either. They've got a very favourable time of draw. After this, they've got Leicester, Burnley. They've got United, which depending on if Ollie's there, that could be an easy game. But they really don't have a tough game until into the new year. So it gets really hard their first couple of weeks of the new year, Liverpool and City. But I just think because of that, this is the time that you bring your Chelsea players in because the next couple of weeks, they're playing Postman FC. Really, it's easy. It's easy. It's Sunday League team football. And look at these scorers, Mendy, Kovacic. Again, 2 players there that are under your 7 million mark anyway. Rudiger again, budget defender. And obviously you take a bit of a risk with the last 2 because they're in and out of the side. But the first 3 scorers here are pretty much playing nearly 90% of game time.
Yeah. No, there's definite value here from a Chelsea standpoint. Obviously, Newcastle have very limited options. It's likely either going to be Callum Wilson or Sam Maximan that are the 2 that are going to provide some sort of a return for Newcastle. But from Chelsea, you see the list there: Kovacic, Mendy in goal, you're expecting a clean sheet. Rudiger in defence, you're expecting a clean sheet. Azpilicueta, I mean, whether he plays this week or not, I'm not sure, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. They've got a lot of talent back there, and if he misses, I'm still expecting a clean sheet anyways. Yeah, you've got your Mason Mounts up forward, Hudson-Odoi, you've got guys like that. You got Ziyech. I think Pulisic could even be back in some capacity this week as well. I think he's trained this week. So yeah, the list goes on with the Chelsea names. They're destined to fire against a team like Newcastle. That's for sure.
They've got a lot of talent available. And what about your game? Who have you gone?
I don't want to pick this because I'm a Manchester United fan, but I've actually gone the Tottenham-Manchester United game. And look, this could be a game where we spoke about it off camera. It could be El Sacico. So it could be a game of Are both coaches going to just try and defend something so that they don't lose? Or are they actually going to try and send a message and go all out and try and win the game? And I'd expect it's going to be both. I expect it's going to be one way or the other for both managers. They're either going to go full out or they're going to go next to nothing. So it could either be a really boring game or it could be a really entertaining game where there could be a fair bit of scoring. I'm hoping for the latter, that it is an entertaining game. And if it is an entertaining game, there's a lot of attacking talent in this game. You've got Son, you've got Bruno, you've got Ronaldo, you've got Greenwood, you've got Rashford, you've got Harry Kane. There's a lot of attacking talent there that this could be a high scoring, entertaining game. So I've put this on my game to watch this week because of that reason. There's a lot of talent on the field. They just have to go out and actually do it and show all that talent. So from an FPL's perspective, if they're going all out, we could see some points here from some of our big names that we've wanted to for some time. So Son owners, Bruno owners, Ronaldo owners, this could be the week where, some points are returned because I want to believe that that they will go all out because they have to show something. Otherwise, whoever loses this game, their job's seriously on the line. So I'm expecting something to happen in this game.
I think you've nailed your synopsis. I mean, this is one of them games when I look at the collated scores and there's such a fine line between both teams, really. If you take Son out as the exception, but Greenwood, Fernandes, Lloris and Reguilon, there's not much between them. It says to me, if you pick the winner of this game, you're probably halfway there to having a good points total. And you'd say that both of these sides shouldn't be going out to draw this game. They need the 3. The 3 points could buy you a 4-week extension, bit of a break, because it's such a big fixture. So I agree with you. And I think the Son pick is brilliant because, look, you see there, leading the way by a long way. He's due a good game. But like you say, this could be the game that, Bruno finds a bit because United will be looking towards their stars to break this game down. And then you've also got Kane as well. What's going on with Kane? We haven't seen Kane for years, have we?
Just got a visitor on the show. Hi, Kate. How are you? Yeah, no, Harry Kane is he's a guy that's destined to fire at some point. And, he's only really shown it in the one game so far. As we said, Manchester United have leaked goals this season. Could Harry Kane do it? Could Son be the provider? Time will tell.
I wouldn't fancy Harry Kane versus Harry Maguire at the moment. The battle of the Harrys.
Yeah. No, it's
interesting.
It will definitely be an interesting game, and I think it's more interesting from the coach perspective. Are they going to go all out, or are they just going to try and save their job by defending and trying to get a draw? So, as you said, both teams need the 3 points. They need a win. It could definitely save their job. So, I'm expecting some points here because I think I'm hoping and thinking they will go all out because they need to win.
It's definitely going to be one of them ones that, we're going to be watching with bated breath, isn't it? Because both sides are desperate for the win. For the win.
Yeah. Especially speaking from a United perspective for us, we feel deprived of wins at the moment. We feel deprived of good performances. So I'm hoping that now their backs are seriously against the wall after that terrible performance against Liverpool. And even from a Tottenham perspective as well, that terrible performance by them against West Ham, both teams seriously against the wall. They'd want to be sending a message to their fan base, to everyone that supports their clubs, that we're no pushovers and we want to bounce back.
Well, time will tell. Time will tell. Well, we've talked about what we're looking for. Let's see how it has affected our team. So here is Team Pom. So Team Pom this week has gone big down the back, as you can see. I've gone big. I've kept with Cancelo. I've kept with Walker. I've brought in TAA. I've taken a bit of a hit this week, but TAA comes in. He impressed me at the weekend. He was on another level at the weekend. I've gone with your boy Livramento and Chilwell. And then I've brought in another surprise selection. I brought in Mane. I've gone with the Mane-Salah combination, feeling just them two linking up looks so good. Mane's nice and rested. He's had a couple of weeks off. Klopp said that he's going to go return to the starting lineup. It was more of a precautionary thing. And I think Salah and Mane, it's salivating. Kovacic and Smith Rowe, Antonio leading the line. Ronaldo finally leaves the team in the hopes it makes him score in real life. And we've got quite a strong bench there. But that is the 11. The only change, I may get itchy bum time towards game day, and Tony may come in for Livramento. But I just think Watford ain't going to score under Ranieri. But that is what I've gone with this week. What are your thoughts initially, Big Alex?
Just really quickly, I find that very interesting. You said Watford won't score with Ranieri after they just put 5 past Everton. So, a bit risky, but no. It's one of those...
I think it was a lucky start.
No, Livramento with Southampton and Watford, it's a very, very tough game. It could be a tricky game. Could either be a 0-0 or it could be serious goals, so it depends. But no, in my team, I've only made the couple of changes this week, and they've only been made because of injuries. So I had to take Raya out from Brentford in goal because he's out for the next 5 months. So I decided to bring in McCarthy from Southampton in goal. Southampton do have some very good fixtures. Obviously, I spoke about the Watford game there. Could be a tricky one. But if I had to go McCarthy or Sanchez against Liverpool, I'll probably be going McCarthy. So that's my reasoning behind that. Obviously, I've got Diash. I've got Rudiger there still. Everyone's got TEA, but I wanted a cheap way into Liverpool's defense. So last week I bought in Van Dijk just for hopeful for clean sheet. And this week, obviously one of my changes, I did have Azpilicueta, but with the injury worry a little bit, I decided to transfer him out and bring in Cancelo. Finally biting the bullet for myself and just saying, you know what, I've spoke about him being a rotation risk, and he's played every single game this season. Sorry. He was on the bench for the League Cup tie in midweek. So he had come on at halftime. So he's at least a little bit rested. I'm expecting him to play this week and hopefully get a clean sheet. Obviously, we've got Salah there. We've got Son. You know, I bought in Son last week, didn't do much, but as I spoke about before, could very much do something this week. We've got Rafinha, who will get that tag off, which will be very nice. Hopefully he returns big time against Norwich. I've got Mbeumo there. He's the one I'm probably a little bit worried about, whether he plays or not, and if I start him or not. But even if I do leave him there and he doesn't play, I've got some bench options there that someone can come in for him. Then obviously I've got Ivan Toney and Jamie Vardy leading the line. So look, I think I've got something there. Haven't taken very much of a hit this week, only the 4 points. So I'm hoping for some big returns, particularly in the back line. There's clean sheet potential there. So if I can start it off there, Salah can score, get a few points on the board, we'll be loving life.
I've done the unthinkable as well. I took the 20-point hit. So to compensate it, I've triple captained. Now, I'm not too sure whether I'll triple captain Salah or I might triple captain Mane, because I have a sneaky feeling that Salah might get a rest. But I know historically Klopp doesn't rest players in form. So be interesting. But I'm hoping to do a U this week and win the unthinkable. But I love your team, Alex. We'll know this time next week if we've both made good decisions or bad. But thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next week. Much love and see you next time.